Hi guys. So, where are we at? This is a bit of a different video. I have used this knife, the Delica, for the last month or so, roughly a month. I don't usually test knives for a month. This is my daily user, my daily driver, and I thought I'd do a review of this. So the one thing about this knife is, I've used it for a ton of things, but mostly for cutting, boxing, opening packages, cutting rope. I've done several cutting tests with it. I will not show you all of those things. For example, what I did do is I did a test to see what the effect of cardboard is of cutting lots of cardboard boxes on the edge of a knife, because not all uses of not all cutting impacts a knife the same way. So, for example, cardboard is exceptionally abrasive. It contains silica, and that is abrasive, and that just grinds away at a knife. It's basically the same as you take a knife, you put it on a sharpening stone like this, you grind away the edge, and that's over the long run what happens when you use cardboard. I actually initially wanted to compare that to cutting rope, which contains less silica and would perhaps make the knife dull more by deformation than by abrasion, and I wanted to show that difference. I haven't done the second part of those tests yet. I will already show you the footage I have of the abrasion part. I will edit that in right about here. So I'm always filming the exact same part of the knife's edge. You can recognize the scratch pattern in every picture on the left hand side. So after cutting more and more, you see that scratches are being added, so it's truly abrasive until you have a huge amount of scratches on the knife's edge. To continue, so I've used this knife for a month, and it is Spy 27. So it's a decent steel. But at the same time, I did notice I was not getting through those cardboard boxes so easily. Now cardboard, it's kind of tough, but still I thought with this steel, with this edge, because I've sharpened this multiple times, and although my hands tremble a bit, I can get an edge. I can get a good edge on a knife. Actually, it shaves. I can actually shave my arms with this knife. Can I show you here? Voila, so that is indeed quite a lot of hair on my arm that has been removed. So this knife is razor sharp. I also sharpened this knife today. One of the things I noticed while cutting through cardboard with this knife is that there was quite a lot of lateral movement, and I didn't like that because it feels unstable. And I don't like an unstable knife. Also, when there is a lateral movement and you're cutting vertically, and it moves a little bit like this, this alters your cutting path, and perhaps it stops you. I don't know. I know it was sharp in any case, but then at some point I got this knife. It's the Pakaya. I really like the Pakaya. I did a review on it. I don't know if you've seen it. If not, please go check it out. But I think this is a very good knife. It's in 3V, and this is in Spy 27. So 3V and Spy 27, I think Spy 27 should have the edge there. I think the edge retention should be better. I also think you can sharpen it to a finer edge. Although I think it will be close with the 3V. Anyway, I was cutting boxes at some point a few days ago, and I was using the Pakaya, and I was cutting through the boxes, and I noticed, wow, this is going so well, and this was with a factory edge on there, which was definitely sharp. There was a very good edge on, but factory edges are never as sharp as when you sharpen it yourself. That's a fact. But still, I was going through those boxes as if it was butter. So I was thinking, yeah, how come I cannot go through these boxes as smoothly with this Delica, with Spy 27, that should be more fit to this use case? and definitely has a sharper edge. And I could not immediately find an explanation. So as mentioned before, it could be indeed lateral movement, that I don't think so. And it perhaps could be the roughness of the edge. So I've done tests before. I did a short on that, and this short details the effect of this short, shows you the difference between an edge finished on a very coarse stone, say 320, 220, then knocking the burr off on 320, and when the burr is off, going directly to the strop. This gives you a much more toothy edge that will cut much better, but it would be worse for push cutting. So up until then, on this knife, I had put a mirror edge, yeah, it's very shiny edge, also laid back, so very sharp, but 100% geared toward push cutting and not and less so towards slicing. So I was thinking perhaps there's a difference in perhaps this one has a coarser edge. That was one of my ways of thinking about this. So yeah, the first thing I thought I should mention this first is it has to do with geometry. It has to do with geometry. Probably the SE has better geometry than the Delica. So I measured these things. So I measured the stock, and I came out here, and you can see, well, it's with a camera like this, it's difficult to see. So I'll just tell you. This one was, let me look it up. So the Pakaya had a stock of 3.1 millimeters, and the Delica had a stock of 2.48 millimeters. And then the thickness behind the edge was 0.77 for the Pakaya and 0.57 for the Delica. So no, it's not geometry at all. If anything, the Delica had much better geometry than the Pakaya. So why was the Pakaya feeling this much more comfortable? So then I thought, okay, perhaps it's the edges. Huh? So this one perhaps is finished with a coarse edge, this with a mirror pulse edge. So I'm gonna do a coarse edge on this one, and then we are going to see if I get improved cutting ability. So here you can see the edge of the Pakaya, so smooth as a baby's bottom, not coarse at all, so my hypothesis was simply wrong. So this is where you would expect a picture of the Delica's edge. Didn't have one, it was smooth as a bottom as well, but I decided to do a quick sharpening here. So I'm doing it on a very rough 320 grit stone. I will knock the burr off on this stone as well. I will not progress through 600,000 and 3,000 grit stones. Once I've finished on this stone and the burr is knocked off, I will simply go to a very fine diamond strop, 1.5 micron diamond strop, and on that strop I will finish the edge, and then we have a very coarse but also very sharp edge. Okay, this is the result of the sharpening. Here you see the very toothy Delica's edge. It is razor sharp. It's this edge that I used earlier to shave my arm so effectively. Well, as it turned out, and as you can see in the picture, the edge on this one is not a coarse edge at all. It is buttery smooth. This one, in any case, I finished with a coarse edge anyway. And I must honestly say it's seriously improved the cutting ability. So yes, it cuts much better now, and it's pretty much on par, I guess, with this SE. So yeah, as to the reason why the SE has feels so much more confidence, I don't know. It must have something to do with the sturdiness of it. You can just have. It's more solid. You can simply cut to, yeah. This is highly preferable, even though geometry is slightly worse than on the Delica. I think the fact that there is no wiggle room, that you have better perches, because the perches is with the Delica is much further away, and here you can really choke up, go really far, and apply much more force. I think it has, perhaps it's just a subjective feeling I have, but it did make that impression on me. So yeah, other things to consider about the Delica. Well, yeah, it's not a bad knife. I like the fact I put a deep carry clip on it. I carried it around for more than a month. It's a backlock, of course, and I actually like backlocks. Well, they're not fidgety, so it's not much fun to play with at all. It's very hard to open, and I cut myself once closing it. But other than that, it's very hard to get a more secure lock than a black backlock. It hooks in here, bam, and then it just doesn't go anywhere. If you compare that to a liner lock, in my opinion, the backlock wins every time. Now, there are certain problems with backlocks as well, but in this Delica, everything, the locking mechanism just works perfectly, and I have a lot of trust in it, and it's not that dependent on geometry, and I think that's important in a knife with FRN scales and no inner liners. This one has inner liners, yes, I see. So yeah, it's still there is still, as you can see, a lot of there's a lot of sideway movement. You just don't have that in this knife or many of the other knives I use, and this one does have it. It comes from the Japanese production side of Spyderco, and I must honestly say that I think the quality from the Japan side is always a bit lacking. It's perhaps because they give him the lesser models, because the best models are in the USA and also in Taiwan, but certainly not in Japan. Yeah. Also a sprint or a special knife, a special version of Spyderco's I would never buy if it is produced in the... Just to check here if it is the FRN scales, but this is an unfair comparison. I have these. These are the natives. Oh, this is such a good knife. I like them a lot. So no liners in there, just this locking mechanism. Very sturdy here, no movement at all. It's not a fair comparison because the G10 is much harder than the FRN scales. But then if we look at this, yeah, honestly, so this is made in the United States. Huh? So this is the lightweight version of this G10, native. And yeah, sorry, but there is no blade play whatsoever. No blade play whatsoever. If you compare that with the Delica, that goes every which way. And it's not that this has not been tightened enough, because it's not that smooth. I did have, with the Dragonfly, I did have this screw unscrewing itself, so even though that there was Loctite on it. So yeah, build quality, not the same level as in the United States or Taiwan. Sorry for the many uhs and ahs, guys. So what is it then? It's not edge coarseness, it's not geometry, perhaps it's just ergonomics. That was it. See you next time. Please subscribe.